It's been about 1 week now that I've had a girlfriend, so it's still new to me. I'm still not used to it. If you don't know, I'm 36 years old and I just started dating my first girlfriend. And it's not just that she's my first girlfriend, because up till recently, I had basically no romantic interactions with any women at all for my whole life. So, this is all new. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's normal and what's not normal in a relationship. And I don't really even know how I managed to get into this situation in the first place, or get into this relationship, I guess I should say. Like, I kind of feel like this is all just happening to me instead of it being something that I earned or whatever. But yeah, I have a girlfriend now. My first girlfriend at 36 years of age. So here's what it's like. I'll start by talking about how it's been so far interacting with my girlfriend, like what we do together and how often we talk and all of that. And I also want to talk a bit about how my parents are reacting to the situation and just anything and everything about how my life has changed as a result of me now having a girlfriend. By the way, I don't know if I've mentioned this, but she's a little bit younger than me. Not a lot, just a little bit. I'm not going to say her exact age, it's not really important, but in case you were wondering, she's younger, and she doesn't have any kids. She's never been married. I honestly don't know if she's ever even dated before. I'm guessing she has, since she is a grown woman, but we haven't talked about that, so I don't know. And we work together. We both work at a car wash that her uncle owns. That's how we met. So we haven't really been seeing each other as much as I thought a boyfriend and girlfriend would be seeing each other. We had one date so far a week ago where we met up for lunch and we just hung out and talked. And we did kiss, which was nice. But since then, the only time we've seen each other is at work. And we've worked 2 days together since that first date. But she doesn't want anyone at work to know about us because she doesn't want her uncle to know about us, which kinda sucks, but I understand. Her family they're from India. Her parents still live over there. She's just here in the States for school. But she doesn't want her parents to know that she's dating because she says that they wouldn't want her to date until she finishes school, which that was actually surprising to me because I thought the problem would be that they wouldn't want her dating a white guy. But she said they just don't want her dating until she finishes with her degree. She didn't say anything about that they would care about my race. So, yeah, either way. So I have seen her at work, but it's awkward because she's trying too hard to make sure that nobody finds out about us. So she just acts kind of weird when we're at work. She basically just pretends I'm not there. So even though we have seen each other at work, we haven't really talked at all while we're there. And just in general, I feel like we haven't really been talking that much at all. Like, we haven't been talking on the phone, and we do text a little bit, but it's just not as much as I expected. But I'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, at work, it's just been kind of awkward. Like, she intentionally tries to not even look at me or talk to me or anything. She acts like I'm not even there. which does not feel very good, as I'm sure you can imagine. It was even to the point where, like, the first time we worked together after we started dating, I was actually worried that she didn't like me anymore because I knew that she wanted to keep things a secret at work, but I don't know, it just felt like she was taking it too far. Like when I first got there, she was already there, and so when I came in, I said hello to her, and she just completely ignored me. So at first I thought she didn't hear me, so I said it again, and she just did like the most subtle little nod of acknowledgement. She didn't even look at me, she didn't look at me, she didn't say anything. She just kind of nodded very subtly, and she was just looking straight ahead while she nodded. And I mean, it was so subtle. It was barely like she was acknowledging me at all. And she looked kind of frustrated when she did it, like she didn't want me to even be saying hello to her at all, which, I mean, seems to be the case. I think she did not want me to speak to her at all at work. But yeah, so I was kind of worried with just how much she was ignoring me. But then when I checked my phone a couple hours later, she had texted me and she said, "Sorry, please don't talk to me at work," which I think, I don't think we necessarily need to completely avoid each other like that when we're at work, but I guess that's how she wants to do it. So it's whatever. Maybe she'll loosen up on that eventually. But for now, the 2 times we have worked together since we started dating, it's been awkward. It's been really awkward. And what makes it worse is that we haven't really been talking a lot outside of work either. So we did text a lot on the day that we had our first date, and the next day we texted a good bit, and we texted a little bit the day after that. Then the next day after that, that was the first time that we worked together after we had started dating. And on that day, and every day since then, we just haven't really been texting much. And maybe it's my fault because I don't really know. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be talking about with her. I don't know what would be normal topics of conversation to talk about with your girlfriend. I just don't know. So maybe it's really more my fault than it is coming from her. And she has texted me at least once every day. So it's not like complete radio silence. She always texts me good night every night, which is nice. That feels really good when I get that text. So I hope she continues to do that, if nothing else. But I don't know. It just feels like we haven't been talking or texting or really like talking, communicating in any way as much as I expected we would be now that we are officially dating. So that's kind of weird, I guess. But maybe it's normal. Maybe this is normal. Maybe this is how people communicate in relationships. Especially since, we're not teenagers. We are older, but it still worries me. I'd be lying if I said it didn't give me anxiety that my girlfriend isn't texting me all the time. I don't think it's a good sign. It's like any time that I haven't heard from her in a few hours, I start feeling like, well, it's over. She came to her senses, or she found somebody else, and that's what I start thinking, and it sucks. But, well, right now, I actually feel pretty good about everything. because yesterday was the last time we worked together, and she was being very avoidant at work. She was avoiding me all day, ignoring me. But then we closed together, so it was just me and her there alone after everybody else left. And she still was acting all awkward and, just avoiding eye contact and not talking to me and all that. She was still acting like that when it was just me and her there alone. But then when we left and we were walking to our cars, she came up behind me and she grabbed my arm. So she was like holding on to my arm while we walked. And then she told me to get in her car with her. And it was actually still a little bit awkward at first. And I'm starting to figure out that she's not very good at communicating. She's not as bad as I am. I'm like the maximum level of social ineptitude that a person could possibly be at. But she's also pretty awkward. I don't think she's shy, but she's just, I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe she is kind of shy, or she's shy about certain things, like talking about her feelings and stuff like that. Or that's how it seems. That's what it seems like to me. But yeah, so we got in her car, and she was in the driver's seat. I was in the passenger seat. And at first, we were just looking at each other. I was smiling because, I just couldn't help it. And she was smiling. And like we were both smiling nervously, looking at each other. And then I said, I wish we could talk more at work. And she was like, yeah, me too. And then it was kind of an awkward silence again for a few seconds. Then she grabbed my hand and she kind of leaned toward me and she asked me if I want to kiss her. So I said, yeah. Then I did. And it was good. But, okay, well, I kissed her like 3 or 4 times, I think, all in a row. So I kissed her the first time. Then, after a second or two, I kissed her again. And then I think 2 more times. But it, like, she wasn't really kissing back. Or she kind of was. Like, her lips did press back a little bit, I guess. But something about it was kind of weird. Like, it didn't feel like she was fully reciprocating. And I mean, I guess what it was just that I wanted to just kiss her over and over again, like 1,000 times or whatever. But after every kiss, like even after the first kiss, she seemed like she was done. Like she never kissed me back until I was already kissing her, if that makes sense. But if she had wanted to make out like I did, then I would think she would already be in motion kissing me like simultaneously as I'm kissing her. I don't know if I explained that well, but yeah, I don't know. We kissed a few times. I don't think she was as into it as I was. It didn't seem like it, but I don't know. I mean, she was the one that initiated it. She asked me if I wanted to kiss her. So maybe she's just kind of shy about it, I guess. That could be the case. But it did feel a little bit off. So I don't know. And I have no idea what kind of romantic experience she has. I don't really want to hear her talk about ex boyfriends or anything like that. So I don't plan on asking her. I'm guessing she's probably dated before. She's probably dated other guys before, but she is from India, and I get the impression that her family is really conservative. So I think she probably hasn't dated a lot, if at all, but I really don't know. And like I said, I don't plan on asking because I don't really want to hear about it. But yeah, I really, really want to, you know, do a lot of things with her, but she already told me on our first date that she's waiting till marriage. So I'm not going to push the issue, but I'm sure she could change her mind, hopefully. But yeah, I mean, it was a little awkward last night when we kissed, but we did kiss. I kissed my girlfriend like 3 or 4 times, and then we just sat there holding hands, talking for a few minutes. It was nice. Like just sitting there with a girl's hand in your hand. Honestly, I think that's the same amount of dopamine you'd get from that than you'd get from jacking to prawn like 10 times. I'm still not fully comfortable around her. Like, I still feel really anxious around her. Like, I never know what to say. I don't know what to do. And it's like, I mean, it's pretty much the same as it is with anyone else I'm talking to. Like, I just can't stop thinking about what I should say or. And I'm afraid that I might say something that offends her, or like if I told her about something that I'm interested in, she might think it's stupid and she won't like me anymore. Because I do have weird interests for the most part. There's even certain things I purposefully don't talk about on this channel because I know that even my viewers who are other autistic BP dudes, I think even you guys might think I'm retarded if I talk about certain interests that I have. So I'm always afraid of revealing too much about myself whenever I talk to anybody, and I still feel that way with her. But hopefully, I will get over that eventually, and I'll be able to be myself around her, or at least relax a little bit, because, I mean, ideally, this is potentially a person that I mean, the ultimate goal, if everything works out, would be to spend, like a lot of time together, right? Like, ultimately, what is the goal of dating? I mean, you can say whatever you want, but to me, I think it should be to meet the person that you end up being with for the rest of your life. So, if nothing else, I hope at least I get to the stage to the point with her that I'm at least able to relax around her and feel comfortable around her. Oh, and I also wanted to mention the first day I worked after the day that LaFonda came by and we were supposed to meet up and all that. The next time I saw Jamal at work, he was asking me, like, well, he came up to me, he literally threw his hands up in the air like that one emoticon, and he was like, "What happened, bro? I thought you were down with it. What happened?" So I guess LaFonda had told him that I called it off. So I was just like, I met somebody else. And I told him I appreciated his help and everything, but he seemed kind of pissed. He was cool about it, but I could tell that he was kind of pissed. And also, he said, like, What do you mean you met somebody else? You were acting all down with it when she came up here. When did you meet somebody else? So, I didn't want to tell him that the somebody else that I met is the Indian girl that we both work with. So I was just like, I don't know. I just met somebody else because I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know what to say without just telling him who it actually is that I met. But she doesn't want anyone at work to know. So, it's like I had to decide, do I tell Jamal that it's her? Or do I just basically say some kind of BS to Jamal that he'll easily be able to see through, and then he'll probably be pissed at me for? So, I mean, that's what I did. That's what I ended up doing. So I was just like, I don't know. I just met somebody else, which is basically not even an answer to his question. And he seemed kind of mad about it. He seemed a little bit pissed, but it's not a big deal, really, I guess. Because after that, like the rest of the day, he was acting normal. He was cracking jokes and everything, and he was still talking to me all day. So I don't think he was really too upset about it. So that's cool. But yeah, so I do feel like there's just been kind of a lack of communication between us, between me and the Indian girl. But it's also like, you know, I don't want to be too clingy or whatever and make her think I'm a loser. Or, I don't want her to realize that I'm a loser. So I'm really not sure, like, how often I should be texting her or how often I should be trying to meet up with her. And it's weird because, back when I was texting with that girl from the boxing gym girl, who, I mean, I guess she thought I was someone else or something. I still haven't figured that one out, I still don't know what was going on with that. But back when all that was going on, me and the gym girl were texting like all day, every day for a while. And then here I am now. I actually have a real life girlfriend that I'm officially in a relationship with. And it feels like we're barely communicating at all. So I don't know. I guess I just got to figure out what the right balance is there between not texting her too much, but also not just coming off like I'm not interested in talking to her at all. There's a proper balance there, and I don't know what it is, but hopefully I'll be able to figure that out. It is still really early on. We've been dating for like a week, so, I don't know. But yeah, I'll keep y'all updated with anything new that happens. And another thing is, I did talk to her about trying to get her to come over to my house sometime because I don't just want the only times we get to be alone together to be like after work, sitting in one of our cars, because I'm definitely never gonna get anywhere like that. Because, I do want to progress our relationship physically, and I am going to respect her boundaries. Or, if I feel like I can, then I will try to see how far she's willing to go, respectfully. So, I need to get her over to my house, preferably when my mom and the baby aren't there, so we can have some alone time together. So, I'm trying to get her to come over to my house sometime, trying to work out the logistics of that. And when I do get it worked out, I might try to chug some whiskey or something before she comes over because I already know I'm going to have a lot of anxiety, and maybe it'll help. I've talked about this before, but usually in my experience, alcohol does not do much for me in terms of lowering my inhibition. But I think it might be worth trying because otherwise, I'm afraid I'm just going to freeze again when I have her alone at my house, just like I did with single mother. Although I do think that the Indian girl is more understanding of that kind of thing. If I did go freeze cell mode, I think she would probably be a little bit more understanding than single mother was. But hopefully, I'll just be able to, grab hold and take action. Like, literally grab hold, grab hold of those melons. Because I swear to God, if she breaks up with me before I even get a chance to squeeze those mediumly ample gazongas, I'm not going to be happy about it. I'd probably just delete my whole channel out of shame. I mean, I wouldn't actually delete my channel, but yeah. That would suck if I don't even ever get to touch them. I don't even want to think about that. But I'm very worried that I'm not going to get that chance. One more thing I want to talk about. So far, she hasn't said anything else to me about me finding a job, because that's another thing that I've been worrying about, that, she's going to start pushing me to look for a job, and then I'm not going to be able to find a job, and she's going to realize that I can't find a job, and that's going to be that, But so far, she hasn't said anything else about it since our first date. So that's good, I guess. I mean, inevitably, she's probably going to bring it up again. I'm sure you could guess this already, but yeah, I haven't started looking yet. I have not started looking. And I really don't want to. I guess I will if I have to. But I am going to wait for her to really push the issue. Because, I mean, to me, it seems like that seems pretty reasonable to me, I'm not pushing the issue with her of, getting my hands on those melons. So that seems like a fair trade off, If she starts pushing the issue of me getting a job, then at that point, I think I'll be a lot more willing, like as far as how I feel about it morally, I'll start feeling a lot more willing to start putting the pressure on her to allow me to use the palms of my hands to put some pressure on her melons. You know what I mean? If she starts putting the pressure on me to look for a job, then I'm going to start putting that pressure on her to allow me to put some pressure on her melons. Because that's fair. What's fair is fair. Although, in reality, the thing is, I don't think she'll be shy at all about trying to push me into looking for a job, but obviously, the issue of the whole melons and stuff, like, that's something that for me, that's probably going to be very difficult for me, anxiety wise, for me to bring that up with her. But, hopefully I start feeling more comfortable around her as we spend more time together. And hopefully I'm able to get her over to my house and have some time alone with her sooner rather than later. I have talked with her, texted with her about that a little bit. So hopefully I'm able to work that out soon. But yeah, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will keep y'all updated. Oh, and by the way, I just wanted to say, I've been getting a lot of comments. Some of you are upset, I guess, that I got a girlfriend. And look, if that's how you feel, that's fine. You don't have to watch my videos, or you're welcome to continue watching my videos and leaving angry comments or whatever. That's up to you. But I do want to say nothing's changed as far as like my perspective on the world. I still see reality for what it is. I understand human nature. I understand how nothing's changed about my perspective on things. So I don't plan on suddenly turning completely blue pilled. And I'm not turning red pilled. I'm not turning blue pilled. Okay. I'm the same me. Nothing's really changed with how I see things and the way that I think and the way that I accurately assess the reality of how society is in this world that I'm living in. So say what you want to say in the comments, think what you want to think, but some things have changed in my life, but I don't think that I have changed, okay? So you can decide for yourself, but I just wanted to say that I do appreciate everybody that, has congratulated me or said nice things to me about this situation. So, yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Thanks for watching.